Hey, what's up guys? I'm Tony G and you're watching 1526 Barbecue. Today, I'm going to teach you how to maintain your pellet grill to keep it operational and clean. Check it out. Now, whether you're a seasoned pellet smoker, pit master, or you're a new up-and-coming star, or maybe you're thinking about buying your first pellet grill, this is going to be a great video for you to watch to make sure you're not missing any of the key important steps to ensure your grill is clean and running properly. So the very first thing you need to think about in terms of keeping your pellet smoker clean is where you're going to keep it. So right now we're inside a screened patio with a hard top roof, so I keep it out of the elements. Even though we're inside this patio, I still got a grill cover for it to help keep it even cleaner and safer. And that's step one, right? If you got your grill outside in the yard, you're going to expect it to get dirtier. You might get some rodents in it or some raccoons, so just keep that in mind. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about what I do on the daily, or really before every cook. The first thing I do on the daily is cleaning out the ash pot. Now, again, by on the daily, I mean before every cook. Now, if I'm telling you the truth, I don't really do it before every cook. If the last thing I've smoked on my smoker was some deviled eggs, which take about 45 minutes, I'm not really worried about the ash pot, right? It's after about 4 hours, maybe 5 hours of smoke time that you want to make sure you clean that out. Now, on a Pit Boss 1100 Pro like I have, that would normally require removing 3 separate grates, lifting up your flame broil main plate and the slider plate, and then vacuuming out the ash pot. For my pit, I've made that process a little easier with a little modification. All you have to do is remove the center grate, slide the sliding plate out of the way, and then I can open this access hatch that I've cut into the flame broiler plate, or the main flame broiler plate, and just vacuum out the ashes. So again, it's not really daily, it's just before every cook, and if I'm speaking honestly, it's before a cook when I know I've had about 4 or 5 hours of ash buildup already. The second thing I do before every cook is kind of clean off the cooking surface, or the cooking grates. Right? So to do that, after I've cleaned out the ash pot, I'll bring the pit up to temp, and then I'll just scrape it with one of these metal brushes. Now, this is very important. If you have the factory grates that Pit Boss provides, they're going to be a porcelain coated grate, and you do not want to use any sort of metal cleaning apparatus on it. You'll damage your grates. I've since upgraded my grates to these stainless steel ones that I found on Amazon. There is a link down in the description if you want to pick up a set for yourself. Because I have the stainless steel grates, I can use the steel wire brushes to clean them. And that's really it. That's all I do on the daily. Clean out the ash pot and clean the cooking surface. Okay, now let's talk about what I do on a monthly basis. And again, it's not really a monthly basis. It's after maybe 20, 25 hours of cook time, I'll do these steps. So obviously, I'll do everything that we just did in the daily. I'll clean out the ash pot and clean the cooking surfaces. But to add to that, I also clean the flame broiler main plate and the slider, which is basically that curved surface. So that curved surface kind of acts as your catch for all the drippings. So the first thing I do on a monthly basis is kind of scrape off all the debris that's on top of that. And then also, and really most important, is I clean out the dripping tracks along either side. Now these dripping tracks are designed by Pit Boss to kind of catch all the grease and oil that falls off that curved surface. It'll go into those tracks, and they're kind of inclined towards your grease bucket, and all that grease and oil will fall right into that bucket. It's important to keep these clean, because if you don't, and you let debris and grease build up, they will eventually catch on fire. Now, I've actually had this happen to me once. It was Thanksgiving 2020. I was doing my first spatchcock turkey, and at the very, very end, I was actually trying to crisp up the skin a little bit with the flame broiler open. My tracks caught on fire. Luckily, I was there. The meat was already cooked, so I quickly took the turkey off of the pit, took this short video that I'm going to show you, and then I was able to just kind of blow it out like you would a birthday candle.
Mosquito, go away!
It's a couple hours into a turkey, and the grease caught. Gotta get it out before it ruins my paint.
It's hot.
And that's it for monthly, right? Ash pot, cooking surface, and your flame broiler main plate and slider plate. And don't forget the dripping tracks. That's like the most critical part. All right, let's move on to what I do on a quarterly basis. Again, it's not really every quarter, it's more like every 75, 80 hours of cook time, but this is what I do basically on a quarter basis. We're gonna do everything that we've talked about already on the daily and monthly, right? To add to that, we're gonna wipe down the outside of the pit, right? Because I wanna keep it nice, looking good, make sure there's not a lot of buildup of debris, which could end up damaging the paint and then leading to rust, right? So that's the first new thing I do on a quarterly, is kind of give the outside a wipe down. Typically, I'll use like a light degreaser. Sometimes we're out of that, and I'll use like a bleach foam cleaner. It's not really important what you're using here. It's the outside of the pit. You're not going to get in contact with any meat or anything, but just keep it nice and clean. The second thing I do on a quarterly basis is clean out the very bottom of the pit, right? So your pit kind of goes down to a curve at the very bottom. It's underneath what would be your ash box or your fire box, inside the middle of the pit there. You'll get a lot of debris down there, right? So not only do you get debris, you also get a lot of excess grease and oil. And like in the monthly where we talked about the dripping tracks can catch on fire, the oil down there can catch on fire. And then you have a much bigger fire, a much bigger problem. It's my opinion that a lot of the paint issues that folks are having with their pit bosses isn't really a paint issue. I think they're not cleaning their pit well enough, and that grease buildup finally catches on fire, and that extreme heat will then ruin the paint, right? So it's important to get in there and with some paper towels, just kind of wipe out all that excess grease and all that excess buildup of oil or whatever else it is down there. Now once you've wiped it clean, you'll notice that there's also a bunch of debris, so you can also take your shop vac and kind of just vacuum out the bottom of the pit there as well. And the last thing I do basically on a quarterly basis is clean out my grease bucket. Now I don't actually clean it. I use these liners. There'll be a link in the description. I put a liner in every quarter or so, every 80 hours of cook time or so. And it makes it super simple to clean it, right? Just take out the liner, throw it in the trash, pop in a new liner, and you're good to go. Okay? And that's it for quarterly. Okay, now let's talk about what I'm gonna be doing annually. We're gonna do everything we talked about in the daily, monthly, and quarterly. To add to that, I'm gonna actually disassemble the bottom of the controller here and kind of just give a visual check, make sure there's not a buildup of grease anywhere, vacuum out any cobwebs. Now, I've never actually done this task because my 1-year anniversary with the pit boss is about 2 weeks away. So today will be the first time I do it. Let's see what we find. And that's it, guys. It's not that hard. I know it sounds like a lot, but once you get into the rhythm and into the hang of it, it's not that big of a deal. Guys, do me a quick favor. If you have a buddy whose grill looks like this, send him a link to this video by clicking the share button down underneath the video, so that way he can get his act together. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.